Welcome to this quick training on Down syndrome. This video provides you with a brief overview of the characteristics of Down syndrome and general strategies to support people with Down syndrome in ministry or educational settings. People with Down syndrome, like all people, are deserving of love, dignity, and respect. This training is intended to share a bit about their unique experiences and also spread awareness and promote more intentional inclusion. Today, we will review the characteristics of Down syndrome and how it impacts those who have it, as well as the strengths people with Down syndrome have to offer. We will also review how someone is diagnosed with Down syndrome and strategies for supporting Down syndrome in ministry and educational settings. Let's briefly go over some stats about Down syndrome. The CDC currently reports about 6,000 babies born with Down syndrome per year. That makes it as common as 1 in 700 babies born. The likelihood of a baby being born with Down syndrome increases as the likelihood of a baby being born with Down syndrome increases as the birth mother gets older. There are more women in their late 30s and 40s who have a child with Down syndrome than those who are younger. This does not mean that older women should fear having a baby with Down syndrome. All lives are a gift, and having a child with Down syndrome is an amazing journey. There are three types of Down syndrome. Down syndrome occurs while the baby is forming and is an extra portion of cells on the 21st chromosome. However, the location and outcome of the extra portion varies among the three types. Trisomy 21 Trisomy 21 is the most common type of Down syndrome and occurs when there are three copies of the 21st chromosome instead of two. Translocation is another type of Down syndrome where an extra chromosome or part of an extra attaches to a different chromosome. Lastly, mosaic Down syndrome is a combination of both two and three copies of chromosome 21 throughout the person's cells. This means there are likely fewer features of Down syndrome in someone with mosaic type. There are some physical and physiological impacts of having an extra chromosome. Some physical characteristics of people with Down syndrome include low muscle tone, small stature, upward slant to the eyes, and a single deep crease across their palms. People with Down syndrome may also have difficulty with their hearing or respiratory system, have congenital heart defects, have cognitive functioning delays, or challenges with their thyroid. Not all people with Down syndrome will have all of these physical or physiological characteristics, but some may have all of them, and each person will be impacted differently. It's important to avoid automatically assuming someone is limited, but rather look at how each person can equitably access their life, social activities, and truly thrive. There are so many ways that people with Down syndrome positively enhance their community. In education, people with Down syndrome can go on to get a college degree and advance in their studies. They also can have strong visual, short term memory, and excellent vocabulary. These are just a few examples because people with Down syndrome, like anyone else, have a variety of talents, capabilities, and skills. In careers, people with Down syndrome can absolutely own and manage a business, contribute to different types of companies and service industries, and become great leaders. With their dedication to others, who wouldn't want a person with Down syndrome to be their boss? With their dedication to others, who wouldn't want a person with Down syndrome to be their boss? Another way that people with Down syndrome enhance their community is through social connection. They are highly empathetic, make strong social connections with people, and are kind, genuine, and sincere. What are some ways the people with Down syndrome in your life have enhanced their community and made a difference? Down syndrome is most often diagnosed at birth or shortly after. It can also be diagnosed during prenatal testing. Typically, the delivering doctor or neonatal pediatrician will recognize signs and symptoms and do an assessment to confirm. The initial diagnosis will not likely be able to predict the long term impact of Down syndrome on the person. This is mostly because each person is different. The resources provided for people with Down syndrome are so vast, and because people often surpass our expectations. Let's talk about some general strategies that may help support people with Down syndrome in your ministry or school. Keep in mind that the most inclusive strategies are ones that acknowledge the dignity of each person and provide equitable access to the same activities, experiences, and privileges as everyone else. Some people with Down syndrome may need support in the area of communication. We can use visuals to accompany words and concepts whenever possible. We can also be patient in listening and ensure we truly understand the message being conveyed. If it takes an extra moment for you to understand, if it takes an extra moment to make sure you understand, kindly ask the person to repeat themselves or paraphrase back to show you are interested in what they have to say. Some people with Down syndrome may need support in physical activities. We can support them by modifying fine motor activities so we can support them by modifying fine motor activities so there are less steps or less complexity. Provide accommodations. We can also provide accommodations for more strenuous activities such as more direct running route or a lighter weight to work with. Another area where we can provide support is in social skills and connections. People with Down syndrome may need boundaries set for levels of interaction. Perhaps it's a reminder not to hug someone we don't know very well, or maybe ask for a fist or elbow bump instead. We should be sure to acknowledge the efforts to socialize. We should be sure to acknowledge any efforts to socialize by showing interest and only redirect to another topic or activity if necessary. For example, if someone is stuck on a topic that makes others uncomfortable. The last area we'll chat about is support for behavior. Some ways to support could be to establish clear expectations and provide positive feedback for socially appropriate behaviors. Again, it's really important to remember that at the core of providing accommodations or support to people is simply so they can have the same access as everyone gets. Again, it's really important to remember that at the core of providing accommodations or support to people is simply so they can have the same access as everyone else. Inclusion and support is not about pity, but about what each person needs to be fully a part of their community. As we wrap up this training, let us know how we can support you with more in depth resources or training. Know that we are so grateful for all you do to serve this amazing population in your ministry or school.